Hey, what's up, Ronin Fishing? I wanted to do a fishing report since I just got back from Tablerock. I figured I'd start doing that if anytime I'm going fishing, might as well. Just fun fishing. So today's like May 12th, and I went to the western side of Tablerock, which is like the Shell Knob area, and just to let you know, the water level's up there enough that like at Campbell Point, it's really tough to launch because mainly it's not it's not like there's debris or anything, but it's the water level's high enough that like you have to go out there a country mile to get the boat in if you're using a fiberglass. If you got aluminum, you could probably get it off the trailer, but you're still going out quite a bit. So Shell Knob's still good, but the water clarity, let's start with that. The water clarity is roughly 2.5 feet, 3 feet. So stained, in my opinion, coming from the clear water reservoirs out west. To me, it's stained, but water temperature is like 63, 64, some places 65. I was going around just a few coves. I didn't stay out there that long, a few hours. Found a few beds that were empty, so there's definitely some fish that are, they're post-spawn. Caught a real nice largemouth in, probably halfway into a cove on a drop that, kind of a bluffy wall inside a cove down there. And I could see a lot on Panoptics. There's a lot of shad there up on the surface and in great big balls there. They're getting ready to spawn. So the shad spawns like almost there on that end of the lake. Another thing, once I pulled off, I went out on the main, I guess you call it river, the main lake over there, the Shell Knob area, and I started getting into spotted bass. And those have already spawned for the most part, probably like 90%, if not more, of the spotted bass and whatnot, they're done, Catching them, I could see them chasing shad on the Panoptics. I mean, there's a lot of shad that were there, I think, because that's a, hard surface, they could spawn there too. And there's a big herring there. He was sitting there trying to get him too. But here's an interesting thing there. The walleye were there too. So I caught a walleye, and there's some other fish that I saw in there. I'm pretty sure they were walleye too. So if you're looking for walleye on some of those bluff banks, they're up there eating the shad as well. Man, it seems like Table Rock's really turning it on for walleye if you really want to go target them. And they're good eating and they're a fun fight. I thought I had a really big bass, and it was just like a 1.5 pound walleye. It was great. But how I was getting them, so I got that real nice largemouth, just typical Ozarks, jig with a chicken craw trailer. So I had a dirty jig, football head, and like I think they call it a beaver or like an Okeechobee craw type thing. It was a real dark watermelon with a blue bottom with a kind of like a real dark watermelon chicken craw. Then I started getting, I got a nice spotted bass on a swim jig. And then once I did that, I slowed down because I could see him on the Panoptic. So I hit him on the swim jig, slowed down with a little drop shot, and started just, picking it apart. And I just thrown a little 3-inch drop shot, real translucent bait. Even though it was, stained water, I just had it there. So I grabbed it and I started catching fish on it. And one of the reasons I grabbed it is because it matches. If you see those shad, they're up on the surface and they're 2 to 3 inches long, and they're kind of bluish translucent. The fish, I saw some come up and really swipe at them. But I anticipate the fishing to get a little bit better once everything kind of stabilizes, and these fish pull off, and they should be easy to find. I could graph them. Now getting them to bite was a little bit different on some areas. But I went out there for a few hours, caught some real nice fat spotted bass and a real nice largemouth, and I could see some other they're probably largemouth there too. So if you're going out there, I'm sure that the fishing is going to get better because this is like the second day after a front. But they're there. They are there on the western part of the lake, and I usually fish when I do come down here and fish. I fish on that eastern part, and that's always good too. But there still probably is, I'm sure, in my opinion, the largemouth spawn on that part of the part of the lake I was at today, the Shell Knob area, that's pretty much wrapping up. And so then you have, your spotted bass. I'm sure there's a few smallmouth over there too that are, they're all post-spawn and, off in that, on those channels and on those bluff walls. But if you go further east, I'm sure there might be a slight delay as you get into clearer water, where you can still probably get some on the bed. But I'm pretty sure that the smallmouth and the spots, they're done, and you start catching them out on the main lake, and they're chasing shad. I would start looking at some topwater stuff too. I didn't get a chance. I was out there too late to get into that, but I could really see the topwater bite kicking on soon. And there's definitely a shad spawn is going to start, if it hasn't already started in parts of the lake. But anyway, that's just like a quick wrap on Table Rock. Like I said, I caught my jigs, some drop shot stuff, swim jig, because today, especially with the front, there's some dead water, so I was just covering some with that swim jig. Caught my bigger fish on the jig and then that swim jig, and then I caught just a lot of nice ones on the drop shot, matching the hatch, and I think I lost a couple too on a real small jerk bait, because a lot of these shad that are spawning, they're up there 2 to 3 inches, thread fins, and but anyway, I'll talk to you later. Peace.